Time's tether. In a world not much different from our own, a technological marvel had emerged, a device that promised the impossible: time travel. The invention spread like wildfire, capturing imaginations and igniting dreams. It allowed people to witness history firsthand and experience life in eras long past. Yet, it came with one crucial caveat: travel was only possible in the past. Once a traveler stepped through the portal, there was no return, no coming back to the present, no moving forward. They could only move further into history, each step taking them deeper into the sands of time. Among those who felt the pull of the past was Henry, a young historian whose life revolved around stories of bygone ages. He knew he had to try the device when he heard about it. It was a risk, but the allure of seeing the wonders of history with his own eyes was too great to resist. On the day of his departure, Henry stepped into the shimmering portal, his heart racing with excitement and trepidation. As the world around him blurred and twisted, he felt a strange sensation, like he was being stretched and compressed simultaneously. Then, with a jolt, he found himself standing on the golden sands of ancient Egypt, the towering pyramids rising against a brilliant blue sky. He gasped, his eyes wide with awe. This was more than he had ever dreamed of. The sun's heat, the scent of the desert, the distant chants of priests performing rituals, it was all so real, so vivid. For days, he wandered the bustling markets, explored the grand temples, and watched in fascination as the ancient Egyptians lived. He could interact with them, speak to them, and even influence them. It was a historian's paradise. But as days turned into weeks, a nagging thought began to creep into his mind. He could never go back. The life he had known and the people he loved were all lost to him now. His decision had severed the tether to his own time, and he was stranded in a world that wasn't his own. Determined to explore further, Henry activated his device again, moving deeper into history. He wanted to witness the splendor of the Roman Empire. Again, the world twisted around him, and Henry found himself amid a grand Roman forum surrounded by marble columns and statues of gods and emperors. He marveled at Rome's grandeur and sheer power. It was intoxicating. But the device had a mind of its own. It was unstable and unpredictable. As Henry admires the architecture, a sudden flash envelopes him, and he is ripped from the scene. The air grew colder, the light dimmer, and when he opened his eyes, he found himself in a primitive landscape, a world of stone and bone. He had been transported back to the Stone Age. Panic set in. The people here were barely more than hunters and gatherers, their language a series of grunts and gestures. He tried to activate his device again, but it sputtered and sparked, refusing to comply. He was trapped, and each jump further back in time made it harder to survive and understand. Henry met Otek, a simple hunter with kind eyes and a wary smile, as he tried to come to his new reality. They couldn't speak the same language, but they developed a silent understanding over time, a friendship that transcended the ages. Otek taught him how to survive, hunt, and make fire. For a while, Henry found a semblance of peace, a new life in this ancient world. But as the days passed, Henry's desire to explore returned. Despite the risks, he made one last attempt with his device. If he couldn't return to his own time, he could find another era, one closer to his own, one with more familiarity, more comfort. As he prepared for one final jump, he glanced back at Otek, who watched him with a sad, knowing look. Henry activated the device with a heavy heart, feeling the now familiar pull of time as it dragged him through the ages. He landed with a thud in the soft soil of a forest, the sound of birdsong filling the air. Confused, he looked around, hoping to see some sign of civilization, some hint of where, or when, he was. But as he wandered through the dense trees, his heart sank. There were no roads, no buildings, no signs of human life. It was as if he had traveled beyond the reach of history itself to a time before humans had even walked the earth. The realization hit him like a blow. He was truly alone, trapped in a time before time, with no way to return, no way to move forward. The device, his lifeline, had finally failed. And as Henry stood there, gazing into the endless expanse of the untouched wilderness, he understood the bitter irony of his journey. In his quest to witness the past, he had become a prisoner of it, lost to the history he sought to explore. The device, meant to bridge the ages, had instead severed him from his own time, leaving him stranded in a world that had not yet begun. In his pursuit of knowledge, he had lost everything: the present, the future, and any hope of returning to the life he once knew. And so, in the twilight of time, Henry stood, a solitary figure in a world that would never know his name, a traveler forever lost to the ages.